There's probably one reason why your tracks are not getting accepted by music libraries. If you're attempting to do this and you're actually submitting your tracks and getting rejections, there's probably one reason why you're not getting accepted. And it has nothing to do with your musical abilities. It has nothing to do with your ability to produce great chord progressions and melodies and drum beats. It has nothing to do with your mixing skills or your mastering skills or your ability to get your tracks to sound on par with the professionals. It has nothing to do with any of that stuff, or even the quality of your studio at home, like the equipment that you're using. I can tell you the number one reason that your tracks are probably not getting accepted is because the samples you're using, right? The synthesizers, the drum samples, the loops, whatever it is, however you're getting your sounds, maybe they're coming from your keyboard itself, they just suck. They're really terrible, awful samples that you should not be using anymore. Like today should be the last day. If you're using samples that don't sound that great and they're not modern sounding and they don't sound like what else is going on in the TV licensing biz right now, get rid of them. Honestly, go do some research and find a new synth to use, find a new sample plugin preset to use. I always recommend to all my students splice.com. I don't get paid to recommend them. I just think they're great. I personally use that site almost every day. You can sign up and basically get, I think it's 100 downloads a month for just $8 a month. And you can basically get access to the latest samples, plugins, sounds, all that kind of stuff that's coming out and being used in the current pop market for music production. Or I always say look at Native Instruments Contact 5. Contact 5 is a great plugin that you can basically get any library you want for it. Anything possibly you could think of, they'll be able to provide it for you. And there's new libraries always being updated and always being introduced into their market space, so you can always look to see what the latest is. But those basically are my two go-tos for where I find sounds and how I make sure that my tracks sound on par with the professionals out there. But seriously, please, it's aggravating for me to constantly say this and then constantly hear music from people who want me to give some feedback or review. And it's like, man, great chord progression, great melodies, really cool vibe you got going on here, great energy. But it's like you're using just broken crayons, right? Like if you were painting a masterpiece and you used crayons that were melted and kind of smushed together, you could say like, well, obviously you got skills and this is I could see what you were trying to do with it, but you used the wrong tools. And that's literally how I see these samples that a lot of people are using. They're just these broken, melted crayons that are like, go get some real paintbrushes, right? Go get some real paint, go get some acrylics, go get some oil paints, go get some watercolor. Get the proper tools so that your talent can really shine, and give yourself that dignity to your work, basically. Like, why are you cheapening your producer or musician skills by using the wrong tools and not letting your true talent shine through your track? So it's really aggravating for me to hear it when it's such an easy fixable problem. And I know plugins cost money, samples cost money. All right. I mean, splice.com, $8 a month. If you can't afford $8 a month, you just, I don't know, you got bigger problems in music production, okay? So that's a very inexpensive solution to this. But also, how important is this to you, okay? So maybe it's something you got to save up a little bit of money to get, maybe a Contact 5 bundle, or get whatever that plugin that you've done research on. And by the way, go on YouTube and type in awesome, like if you're looking for great piano plugins or samples or synths, type in piano plugin or something and look for everybody's review videos. Everybody, you can think of I think every plugin at least has 5 or 10 review videos on YouTube that you can go listen to what's going on with it. You can actually see somebody interacting with the synth and the plugin. You can say, wow, that would be really cool for me to have for my productions. So go do the research, go find out. I can't tell you exactly what you should get because I don't know what kind of music you make. I don't know what sound you're going for. There's just so many options out there that I couldn't tell you guys. But I've given you at least 2 options here that you could start with and see if those 2 maybe would help you get into the ballpark of what you're going for. But please, let this be the last and final day that you use these terrible samples you're producing music with, and update yourself. Get the right tools, get the right sounds. I remember the first day that I kind of let go of the crappy samples and sounds that I was using and said, to hell with it. I'm going to go actually use proper stuff, right? Update to Contact 5, update to some other plugins I was using. Wow. Like, my confidence level went through the roof just hearing my music being produced with the right samples. Like, instantly, all those mixing issues you think you have, a lot of them will get instantly resolved when you just start using the right ingredients. If you are a gourmet chef and you were going to put on like I don't know, an amazing dinner for royalty or the president or something like that, but you were using sort of the discount aisle ingredients that somebody had picked up for you. You know, you can try to work as many miracles as you possibly can, but at the end of the day, you're using the worst possible ingredients to get to a great tasting dish. So even chefs know this. You start with the most fresh, the most organic, the tastiest ingredients you possibly can. First, you start with that so that your end product is that much higher. It's the same thing with music, right? Start with high quality samples and plugins, and in the end, you're gonna have a much higher quality track and sound to be able to get yourself some placements in the TV film licensing business.